Sadhana, beautiful yogis. I want to thank all of you who have joined me in this 40-day global sadhana for the radiant body. It's day 16 and you're doing great. I'm wowed by your enthusiastic support and your dedication to the practice. And I love hearing your stories about how you're integrating this practice into your daily lives with your families. The best way to teach is, of course, by example. So thank you for sharing those stories with me. And some of you have had some questions, so I thought I'd take this time today to address some of them. Here's one that says that their trapezius muscle, I'm assuming you mean this part of the trapezius, is getting tighter and tighter since the sadhana, and they're wondering if this can hurt those muscles. So there's a few points to consider. One is posture and alignment. So I'm guessing that it's most likely the meditation, with the arms up this way. If you've got some tightness, even all the way down into your hips, actually, it's going to affect what's happening up in the shoulder area. So the first thing you want to make sure about is that when your arms are up, your shoulders are not up. So, if you've got some tightness in your hips, you might end up looking something like this. And if that is the case and you're unable to get the shoulders down, it makes you feel like you're going to fall over backwards. One thing you can do is sit on a bolster. So I'm just going to turn sideways so you get the idea. So if you elevate your hips a little bit, it's a lot easier to keep your spine straight. And that way when your arms come up, you're not collapsed like this. Right? So that would be my first suggestion. And to be very aware of moving your shoulder blades down your back when you bring your arms up. What happens whenever you move your arms is that your shoulder blades have to move too. So let's just say my hands are your shoulder blades. So when you bring your arms up to the sides, your shoulder blades are meant to rotate this way. The bottom part of the shoulder blade will flare out a little bit. And this muscle, the upper trapezius muscle, is part of the musculature that helps make that happen. But this muscle also elevates the shoulder blades, right? So you might be having a little of this and then some of this too. So you want to very consciously, even before you lift your arms up, roll your shoulders up, back, and down. Think of setting your shoulder blades in place. And then hold them there as your arms coming up. So again, if you get here and you can't quite get the arms back, you feel like you're going to tip over backward, the bolster or a pillow, whatever you've got. You can even sit on a chair, the edge of a chair that's very stable with your feet flat on the floor. That may be the easiest way for you to hold yourself in alignment. And you might have some tightness here as well that's preventing you from getting the arms all the way back without doing something funny with your shoulders. So you'll just start where you're able to keep the shoulders down. And then over time, work the arms back. So maybe here is where you're in alignment. And after a few more weeks of practice, you can get the arms all the way back to there. The other consideration is if you're not used to this kind of thing, you're not used to holding your arms up for a long time, these muscles may have never worked this way before. And so there's what we call a good pain. It's a breakdown of the tissue in the muscle that's not a bad breakdown, but it can create some soreness for you. And when you use a muscle in a new way, there are tiny microscopic tears that happen within the muscle cells. And that's normal. That's how we grow our muscles, because when they repair themselves stronger than they were before you began the practice. So to help alleviate that, what you can do is just some little stretches and warm-ups before you begin the Kriya to help keep them loose, and you can do them throughout the day as well. So some of the best things to do are shoulder shrugs, right? Bring some blood into the area, and circles to keep the range. and then neck circles, and all of this with moving your head. You can just do very gently and slowly. Go in both directions. Just spend about a minute or so doing each thing. And then very gentle neck stretches as well. So you keep your shoulders very level and you drop your head to one side, and then you can use your hand and just very gently put a little bit of pressure on the side of the neck so you feel this start to open up. So that'll help you work through that soreness quicker if you can keep blood moving through there. And do the other side. And then you can finish by tucking your chin into your chest and very gently pressing on the back so you can open up both sides straight down the back. So it's not that you're going to injure yourself by holding your arms in this practice, but you want to keep blood moving through there as your body adjusts. Okay, next question. This is the leg balance on one side question. Are we supposed to switch legs? In this particular Kriya, we just do one side, and you will find that fairly often in Kundalini Yoga we'll do something on one side and not the other. And if you were just to look at a Kriya from a purely musculoskeletal point of view, that might seem like you're creating an imbalance in the body. But in Kundalini Yoga, of course, we're working on the glandular system and the nervous system. It's a very, very sophisticated system that we work on the body. So sometimes we address a pre-existing imbalance with an imbalance. So in the body, the left side of the body, the nerve meridians there relate to the glandular system, and the right side of the body relates to the nervous system. So we put the body in a particular position to rebalance those systems. If you think of it as mudra, often in Kundalini Yoga we'll have mudras, where the arms are not doing the same thing. It's asymmetrical. So too with a posture. Even though it's not just your hands, they're still mudras, really. You're holding your body in a particular way to cause a particular effect. So that's what that's about. Okay, next question. I enjoy doing this Kriya as well as teaching it to my students. However, I have one problem. Could you tell me how do I teach this posture if my student has a knee problem? They love this Kriya, but the one with the old knee injury encountered pain and found it difficult to balance. So I'm guessing that this is the one we start in cow pose on all fours. So there are lots of things to help with that. And one is to cushion the knee. But first you want to make sure that the knee is in the proper position. So you come to all fours and your knees are right beneath your hips, but you can have your feet closer together than that, and that will put you on the most stable part of your knee joint and the least likely place where it will be tender. So just think knees hip distance and then feet closer together than hip distance. That's the first thing. And the second thing is just, they can double over their mat or add a little bit of cushion to the tender area. That might make a huge difference as well. It might be that this person is not yet able to give the knee the full weight of the posture, so perhaps they can lift the other leg but not the hand just yet, because the hand will give a little bit of extra support to the knee. But if that's still too much, they might be able to keep the other leg down and lift the hand up in the posture and just do the breathing this way and visualize the posture. The more strongly you visualize it, the more your body will gravitate toward being able to do that posture. So you do as many parts of the posture as well as you're able to, as long as you're able to. And, maybe they hold it just for a few seconds in the beginning and build on that over time. Another important consideration is, once again, stretching. Oftentimes when there's pain here, here is not really the problem. The problem is a tension in the quadricep muscle, particularly the one runs along the outer part of the front of the thigh. So again, before the Kriya begins, you can prepare that part of your body by stretching. The easiest way to do that for this particular muscle is to come onto your side and hold, if you can, the ankle, and if not, your pant leg. Keep the pelvis tucked under, so you're moving your hips forward, pulling your navel in, and as you hold that stationary pelvis, press the knee backward and drop it down a bit until you start to feel a stretching and openness right through here, because it's the pressure through here that creates the pain here. Right? So just opening this up can make a huge difference. And you can also do this standing up as well. You just stand up, hold on to something for balance, hold your foot or your ankle or your pant leg, and tuck the pelvis under and push the knee back and down. And that usually makes a huge difference with any pressure here at the knee. And after you've done that, if you straighten out your leg and just squeeze the quadricep very strongly so your knee gets very, very straight, that'll keep everything in alignment. And you can do that several times throughout the day, and it makes a huge difference with knee problems. On a more metaphysical level, the knee joint represents the ego and stubbornness sometimes, and also the ability to move forward. So if you're having chronic problems with your knees, it's very helpful to give yourself little affirmations like, I'm moving forward gracefully and easily, letting go of the past. And keep those kind of thoughts with you, particularly when the knee is bothering you. All right, next question. Problems with the squat. So this is in the same vein as the one we just did, and knee issues. But we can review what to do in this posture if this is holding you back. So again, alignment matters, and ideally the feet and the knees will point straight ahead when you squat down. If your knees want to turn out, it's okay. Just make sure that your feet turn out as well. Okay, and maybe your squat's going to be very, very shallow, 2 or 3 inches, but that's fine. You don't have to perfect any posture to get the benefits from the posture. It's not about the end result. It's just about getting a little stronger, a little more flexible every day. So allow yourself that. And some people find also that if they roll up a mat and put it underneath their heels, because they can't keep their heels down when they bend their knees, that's helpful. But the thing you want to watch for in your students, particularly ones with knee issues, they'll tend to press the knees forward as they bend them. And you don't want that to happen, because then you're just hanging on your joint. You want to use the muscles deep in your hips when you squat. So when you're coming down, your weight is toward your heels. Again, even if you're just bending a little tiny bit, and just lifting the toes a little bit in the beginning will help you shift your weight toward your heels. Even if there's the curled up mat underneath your heels, you can pull your toes up a little bit and it'll shift your weight backward a little bit. So as you're bending, your heart is still lifted, right? And your arms are coming up for this particular one. But the weight is in the heels. So perhaps it looks like this. Maybe you go 1 inch, but if you go 1 inch down in correct alignment, you're going to get stronger. The body will adjust to it. So you just have a lot of patience with yourself. Maybe you go 1/2 inch down. Even that will make a difference if you're doing it right. So do these very, very slowly so you can check out what's happening. Maybe you tend to shift your weight from one side more over than from the other side. So keep it even. The thing you don't want to have happen is for your knees to come inward. Because that, again, you're just hanging on the joint and creating a lot of pressure in through here where there's already pressure. So let's say you get to here and suddenly this knee caves in. You've gone too deep for your body for that day. So you're going to stay just above where you would cave in, like that. Again, so do what your body's ready for, do it with control, and do it with awareness, and you'll be just fine. All right, headaches is next. Firstly, some people find certain kriyas and meditations, they will get a headache if their head is not covered. So if you're not covering your head, I would suggest trying it with a little headband or a scarf or something. Cover your head and see if that makes a difference. Another thing is water. This is a very detoxing kriya. So you need water to flush those toxins out of your body. Very important. And also, the other reason for headaches, in addition to dehydration and detoxing, is you may also have some tension in the neck area. So you would pay attention to your posture when you're practicing the kriya. Do all those things to make sure your spine is straight, your neck is straight, and do the shoulder shrugs and the circles and the neck stretches either before or after your practice, and that should take care of the headaches. Just to go back to water, the amount of water you need is 1/2 your weight in ounces every day as a bare minimum. So for every 100 pounds, you need 50 ounces, and you need another 8 ounces for every hour of exercise that you do every day. And coffee does not count, or black tea, as water, because those things are both dehydrating. Herbal tea counts as water. The next question is a wonderful question. And it says, I have a difficult question to ask, if I may. Having on several occasions along the years brought myself to relatively high levels of radiance, I have as many times suddenly fallen on my chin, just as I trusted the new environment I found myself at. Here's the question: how to keep oneself there, or how to effectively protect one's, in this way, acquired radiance. Thank you ever so kindly. And thank you for asking this question. It's a very important question. And as is often the case, I found this morning that when I checked my email, Yogi Bhajan had answered this question via the KRI, I Am a Woman quote of the day. If you don't receive the quote of the day, you want to. So just go on KRI's website and sign yourself up for it. Here's what he said. All of you sitting here, if you tell me that you are living in some pain, some unhappiness, I will give you one common answer. You are using your past to bring pain into your future. That is the only answer. Then the question arises, why do you do it? Because you are out of balance. So we use our higher consciousness to prod us along on this path of evolving ourselves. But the subconscious mind and the ego contain within them limiting programs, limiting beliefs about ourselves. So if within you there is this idea that you're not worthy, one will tend to sabotage one's own best efforts. And I noticed that you use the word acquired, that this was an acquired radiance. And it's true that our habits contribute to the outer expression of our radiance. We need to keep our lives in balance. We need enough rest. We need good, healthy food. We need to be in good, healthy relationships. And we need yoga and meditation to regularly clear our subconscious minds and to help us rid ourselves of those programs. But at the heart of all of it is that you are a radiant being. You are a spiritual being here having a human experience. And mostly our radiance is simply shedding any darkness that has imposed itself on a radiance that is our natural gift. So it's truly not an acquired radiance. It's allowing that inner light that you already possess to shine fully. You are worthy. You may not on some very deep unconscious level believe it, but you are worthy and you are a radiant being. So if on that subconscious level you have the idea of a lack of deservability or worthiness, you will probably begin self-sabotaging, self-defeating behaviors. For example, let's say to compensate for a lack of feeling worthy, you overwork yourself. You work yourself right into the ground and you get very, very tired trying to prove something to everyone. And you don't get enough rest, and you don't eat well, and you start to make mistakes. And that's when you end up on your chin, wondering, how did I get there? What happened? It was all, I was doing my yoga every day. So each part of your life needs to be in balance. And every day wake up in the morning and tell yourself that you are worthy, and bless yourself. Bless every cell in your being. Accept your worthiness. Accept your true, radiant, beautiful self. And take care of that self. It is the nature of our lives that we have challenges, up days and down days, and days that are easier and days that seem impossibly difficult. And somewhere along the line we can get the idea, and they live happily ever after, that if only we were perfect, taller or this or richer or shorter or skinnier or whatever, more talented. We get the idea that if only we were somehow different, then these challenges wouldn't come to us. But again, to quote Yogi Bhajan, he said, "You think your challenges come to you because you're not worthy, but they come to you because you are worthy." And that's the spiritual warrior aspect. Right? You see the challenge, it comes to you, and you meet the challenge. The challenge is not a judgment. The challenge is not, if only I were another way, then this wouldn't be happening right now. The challenge is an opportunity to grow. Meet the challenge and consider it a compliment. The final question is one of my favorites, and the question is, do you have Hungarian roots? I do not have Hungarian roots, but some of my nearest and dearest friends are Hungarian, so perhaps you're sensing a sort of simpatico with the Hungarian heritage, and I consider it a big compliment to be asked that question, so I thank you. And I thank all of you for keeping up so well. If you got tripped up somewhere along the line and you're starting over again, that's great too, because each time you start, each time you begin anew, it's another victory. It's another rising above and meeting the challenge. And I have many times experienced that particular victory. My day for tripping up is often been known to be day 28. So watch out for day 28. And maybe do it twice that day just to make sure that you're all doing so wonderfully. And I so appreciate all of your stories and your questions, and I am so pleased to be part of this journey with you all. So I thank you from the very bottom of my heart. Satnam, bless you all.